Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Now friends, we did in the last video, we spoke about what are the physical or environmental barriers of communication. Today in this video, we are going to talk about semantic barriers of communication skills. Now what does this word mean, semantic? So basically, when we talk about semantic barriers, it's nothing but my understanding and my level of understanding where we are not on the same page. So imagine if I'm communicating something which is not well understood. There can be different reasons. There can be difficult language used, there can be jargons used, no use of simple language at all, certain meanings which are not understood, whatever. These are different examples of me not getting into communication well with you. So semantic barriers have different aspects. So let's focus at first one. So suppose words with different meanings. Suppose if I have a lot of words with different meanings, one word with different meanings. Now here, my communication, if the word is differently understood, goes on a different level. Right? So this is first aspect of my semantic communication, which is words with different meanings. Second one, definitely faculty translation. Now suppose if I am not able to translate you well of what I am talking, or I am not able to give you a complete explanation of what I am talking, again that is a barrier for my communication. The third one is unclarified assumptions. We all have an habit to assume even before we listen to someone of what they are communicating. So this game of assumption is really tedious or sad, I would say at times, because it doesn't allow people to actually clarify what they are talking. So unclear assumptions is what I can name it, is also a semantic barrier to communication. Then there is denotations and connotations. These are again certain barriers of communication, and I will definitely take you through in detail of what it means. The third one is technical jargons. Maybe I might be an engineer, but I have a lot of technical words which I know. They might sound very great, but at the same time, for a common person, that are jargons. Those are jargons for him. So technical jargons are also responsible of me not communicating well. The last one is bad expressions. Now suppose if I am talking about a particular very positive topic, but my expressions are not right, and I have bad expressions. So these all are responsible for not communicating well, and these are semantic barriers of communication. Let us go through each one of them in detail. Let's see what bad expression means. So when the message is not formulated properly, and the language is used is so difficult for a person to understand that there are misinterpretations of communication. So the recipient is actually lost of what he has to understand out of your communication. Right? So these are certain bad expressions what we can talk about. So the badly expressed messages consume a lot of time as it is required for correction. So every time you have a bad expression, you go back and then there is a correction done, which again is now clarified, and it also gives an impact to the messages which gets reduced. So the message is reduced and the unclear messages are huge. There are several words that carry different messages, and often people get confused in these words in our social life and also in our educational life. To give you an instance or an example of the word crane. So the bird sanctuary is full of crane is one kind of sentence. The other sentence would be the builder used a crane to lift a heavy steel rod. That's another kind of crane word used in this sentence. The third one, the girl has a crane. The girl has to crane her neck to watch the video, which is like strain or crane her neck to watch the video. So one word crane used in different sentences gives you different meanings at different places. It's very important here to understand what exact expression are you making out of this word, which is the crane. So friends, that's how I would say that it's very important to know which word are we talking in which sentence to give you the correct meaning of the entire sentence. One word change in the sentence, the entire meaning of the sentence is changed. So we have to be very careful, and I'm sure now we are going to be, on how to use the correct words in correct sentence. Now, faculty translation is sometimes when the sender translates the messages as per the level of understanding and irrespective of the recipient's comprehensive level. So suppose if I am a translator and I understand that I have a level of people who are at a medium range, who do not understand very high level language or do not understand technical jargons or technical terms. And as a faculty, it's very important for me to understand and give a correct form of my explanation to those students or those people of mine. Here, many a times, I do not have a hand on it. And then I go on talking more and more technical, more and more complete jargons. So imagine the person who I'm talking to is not able to understand anything at all. So this particular translation is the faculty issue where person is not able to understand what is the level of the understanding irrespective of how the recipient's comprehensive level is. So when a superior is talking to an inferior, it's very important to understand how he has to talk in what way. Same way, when we are talking to at our home, how are we supposed to talk at our home? And the same way, when we are talking to our friends and when we are talking to a boss, what's the difference? So these are all the faculty translation issues. To give you an example of a manager of a to give you an example of the correct faculty translation. Now, suppose if there is a manager of a company and the manager talks to the superiors. Now, this person as a manager collects all the information from the superiors, from his subordinates, and now he has to go and talk it out to the basic class of people in that organization. So imagine if he is trying to translate in the thought and understanding process of the superior, the inferior people, the people who are the subordinates are not going to understand or going to misinterpret of his messages because he misunderstood the comprehensive level of those people. So it's very important to communicate in the correct level of the people of their environment. So sometimes the sender translates the messages as per his level of understanding irrespective of the level of comprehension. This leads to faculty translation issues, which is a major issue of semantic barriers. Friends, let's move on to the next topic, which is unclarified assumptions. Now, when I say assumptions, we all know what you mean by assumptions. Assumptions mean assuming. Now, suppose if I assume that when I say something and I say something half, the half of it you have assumed. Is that the right way to communicate? No, but many people do that. They feel that out of your expressions, they feel that you've been understanding everything really well, and they assume that now they do not need to clarify the rest of it. So they switch to the direct subject matter. But then, are the topics or the messages that we need to really communicate clear or clarified? So that then it is an unclarified assumption, where we are not only clear on a message, but also we made an assumption that the person knows what we really want to talk about. So this is a very major barrier of semantic communication, which is your unclarified assumption. It might at times give an adverse effect of the entire topic or the entire atmosphere. It will change the entire mood of the people around there, because people will not understand what we really want to communicate. Denotation, which we spoke about, is the basic or the major barriers of semantic communication. These cause semantic communication barriers when you're communicating. So let's see what is denotations. So denotations means the literal meaning of the sentences, like we did an example of the crane. So where the crane word was used in different sentences in different ways. Every word had the same pronunciation, which was the crane, but when it was used in different words, the meaning was completely different. Right? So the literal meaning of that word used in the correct frame of sentences is called denotation. The same way, the connotation is whereas the implied meaning of the word is called connotation that arouses personal reactions and quality judgments. So when we say the crane, and that has a meaning which is denotation. But when we see the meaning, or when we get into a judgment of the entire sentence, that is called connotation. So when particularly we make judgment of a particular word or a meaning, is called connotation. Then comes your technical jargons, which are very important, and we all make this mistake. So we think people are as clear and communication wise amazing the way we are, but many a times we speak a lot of jargons, which are technical jargons. Many people, many students of engineering, or production managers or IT managers. These people are complete technical people who sometimes they feel that there is no other word to replace their technical jargons. So suppose if someone says that suppose if an IT professional says that, okay, we are well versed with database, we are well versed with Oracle or Java or C++, C Sharp. Now these are certain languages which normal people won't know. We are only known to Hindi, Marathi, English, XYZ, but we are not known to these IT languages. Now how do we understand, or how do we assume that people would know these technical jargons? And many a times we go on talking about this technical jargon, where the people who are listening to us, the senders or the receivers who are listening to us, they are all lost on what we are exactly talking or what we want to really tell them. So these jargons also act as a barrier of our communication, and they are also piled up under semantic barriers of communication. Thus, they lead to a lot of misunderstanding of information and objective. So the objectives is not done, the information is halfway, and then it is disinterruptions. So to not get disrupted and to not get halfway information, it's very important that we do not use these technical jargon. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to our channel and also tune in to EK.